Hi there, Dr. Vicki Lenford here with the Teach and Grow Rich channel where we master your mind and manage your life. Okay, here we go. I've had several clients and several people email me and say, I'd love to do cooperative learning groups, but boy, there's always just that one group that just won't, follow directions and that sort of thing. How can I get, to doing these instructional strategies without all the chaos? Well, we're going to get into that and more, but you want to stay to the end of the video because I'm going to offer you a really simple technique, couple of techniques, actually, strategies for you to implement right away. Before we do that, go ahead and like, share, and comment. That's how we build our community. If you need some coaching, I am happy to be there for you, or any type of professional development. I am there. All right, so let's get into it. You want to do like a gallery walk, right? But there's always that one group that just are off topic. They're talking across the room. They're not following instructions. They're just, kind of thinking this is, all a social fun day, right? Well, it can be that a little bit too, but I'm going to ask you this. Did you let them know exactly what they needed for their behavior, right? Before you ever listen, I made the same mistake a million times. I got so excited about doing that gallery walk that I would get them out into their groups, and then I'm shouting like, hey, don't forget, you got to hand it over here, and oh, you need these materials over here, or make sure that whatever. I'm shouting out directions. They're like, what is this crazy lady doing? And and all of a sudden they finally get to the groups and they're confused because I didn't give really good directions. I didn't let them know exactly the behavior they needed. And so, therefore, I was probably the more chaotic one than they were, right? So, let's start there. It always begins and ends with you as the teacher. So, you have to reflect and go, gosh, did I let them know? So often we assume our students know exactly what we need from them, but that's just, they can't read your mind. And how many of us have been guilty of that, right? So what I did is I developed this called voice movement task, the VMT, and it's in my book right there. I'll grab it here. Cultivating compassion in the classroom, right? So that is, you just basically let them know voices, you know, on topic conversation, or maybe their voice levels, or stay within your group. Make sure you're listening to people. Only give them a couple things. And then what materials do they need? And then the task is the directions. And before you even begin this, okay, that's great. I can give you every strategy you want to implement in the classroom, but it always begins and ends with the teacher. I will always say that. The only thing you need to change is yourself. You don't want to change your students. You don't want to control your students. You can't do either of those. Yet we always try. And what are we met with? Resistance. And so I promise you, the more you work on yourself, the less you're going to take things personally. This classroom's going to be a lot more calm because you're going to be a lot more calm. So I gave you a strategy to use before you begin your groups. You let them know exactly what you need from them, especially with the talking, because that's always either they're talking too much, they're talking too loud, or they're not talking enough, right? They're not talking at all. So you want to just go and hit one or two things, hold them accountable. But before you do that, classroom management does not start the minute you enter that classroom. It starts the minute you wake up in the morning, right? And you have to manage yourself. You have to manage your thoughts. And so be aware of the bias you're having in your mind, that story of, boy, there is no way Jimmy, Johnny, and Joe will ever follow my instructions because they're so out of control. Well, let's start visualizing and telling a different story. When you start becoming aware of your thoughts, your words, and you start claiming who you are, your identity, that's when things start changing. So that's how you can teach and grow rich. And it has. Once I figured out this whole idea of that the only thing I need to change is myself. and that I have control over my thoughts, my words, and who I decide I'm going to be. It changed my life, and let me tell you, money, relationships, everything, health, it all started just falling into place. So, what I want you to do, here's my second um, uh, strategy I want to give for yourself, for you, easy for me to say, for your personal growth. Okay, here we go. It's a really simple thing. It's an affirmation, but you're affirming all the time, right? Some people affirmations work and sometimes they don't. I go super general, right? I just always say, especially when I'm going to do something that I'm a little bit nervous about, like doing a calorie walk, you're still a little, even though I might prepare them and let them know the behavior I expect before them, you're still a little tense and worried, right? So what I tell myself, I take a deep breath and I always say, everything's working out. Everything's working out for me perfectly. Everything is in my favor. Everything is working in for my highest good. And then that allows you to relax into it. And whether or not they are working in the way you think they should, it doesn't matter. Because even when they are a little out of control or a little chaotic, does it really matter? Does it? I mean, really, the number one thing with classroom management is safety. If there's a safety issue, yes. But in general, take small wins and build on them. And you know what? If they talk a little loud or they talk a little bit more, a little off topic, does that really matter? No. And so when you start affirming yourself and start seeing yourself in more of that role of a calm, confident teacher, you're going to eventually become that calm, confident teacher. But it starts the minute you wake up to the minute you go to sleep. You have to manage your thoughts. Okay? And let me tell you, I was queen of negative self-talk. I had some real doozy of stories that would tell myself. And I would get myself all worked up, and most of those stories weren't even true, right? There was really no evidence to really even, like support all these stories I'm creating in my head. I mean, I should have been, instead of writing education books, I should have been writing novels because there were some really intricate stories. Anyway, maybe I will. Who knows? But that is what I can tell you. This is a really powerful, simple. The simplest strategies are some of the most powerful. And let me tell you, when I started affirming for myself, just on a daily basis, whenever I felt myself kind of getting anxious, I'm like, you know what? Everything's working out for me. It's fine. It's working out. Even in the challenging moments, that is what I call the bridge of incidents, where it's like, no, this is part of the journey. This is part of the process. It's okay. And really, it is okay. If kids are a little bit chaotic, it's okay. Don't don't get all worked up. Give yourself some grace and keep affirming for yourself and do it all throughout the day. Just super general things. And let me know how it works for you. Okay, go ahead and comment in the comments below. Just to share a general affirmation that you use. All right. Until next time, go ahead and like, share, and comment. And if you need coaching, you can go ahead and contact me. All the information is below in the description box. Okay. Until the next one, next video, I'll see you later. Bye.